speaking of Elon, like I don't know what to make of what happened over this weekend. This tweet that he sends out starts to seemingly affirm what can be described as anti-Semitic thoughts and beliefs about the Jewish people. He subsequently has said that that's not his intent. That's not who he is. But you then have all of these advertisers going berserk on this. I want to focus on X, what formerly known as Twitter, though, for right now. Like, what is this? What is happening to this company, Trish? Because I had problems with Twitter. Don't get me wrong. It was leftist, it shadow banned everyone. And now I'm kind of looking at a guy that I thought was really smart business-wise, right? And I get it. He bought it. He paid all this money for it. But I'm trying to figure out, you have companies, you talk about its profit model, largely advertising, and everybody's fleeing the thing right now. And you've got Media Matters for America, this left-wing group, trying to create this false narrative potentially that there was adjacent ads to whatever. Elon saying he's going to sue them. This has been fascinating in itself, watching how that company has, I don't know what to call it. Devolved what?
Yeah. And I think eventually, I thought he paid too much money for it.
Yeah.
I know he tried to lower and I'm like, no, buddy, the Delaware court has only voted once to not approve a transaction. And that was when a company blatantly, flat out lied, criminal type stuff about its earnings. He agreed to do that deal without actually looking fully under the hood. He paid a lot for it, but I think he actually had a lot of conviction and wanted to do it for reasons that were not entirely capitalist motivated. And then he's looking at it going, whoa, I paid a lot for this. Maybe I shouldn't have paid so much. Look, he did pay so much, and it's going to take a long time to recoup that value. He does have the goal of making that profitable. And there are going to be hiccups along the way because, yes, Disney hates him, right? Disney's like, okay, we're pulling all our advertising. The establishment hates him. They're terrified of him, absolutely terrified, because he's allowing this exchange of dialogue. There was something that he tweeted, and I don't have the exact tweet in front of me right now, but I was very struck by a couple of reactions, one of which was Bill Ackman's. Bill Ackman, sort of legendary hedge fund investor who's been very outspoken against Harvard University. And by the way, I went to high school with the woman who is now head of Harvard. She was a senior when I was a freshman. And I'm just sickened and stunned by her lack of immediacy and they still haven't kicked the guy out of school that was harassing a student on campus who was perceived to be Jewish. I'm sure you saw that video. Right. Anyway, it's just horrible what's going on at Harvard, at UPenn, at my alma mater, which is Columbia University. I'm sickened and disgusted by all of it. But Bill Ackman, leading the charge at Harvard, he writes, Elon Musk is not an anti-Semite. It is remarkable how quickly the world stands ready to attack Musk for his shoot from the hip commentary. Musk is not perfect, but the world is a vastly better place because of him. And, basically, I think what happened here is Elon is sort of zeroing in on this problem, this bug, if you would, right, to use a computer term, of wokeness. And that's that the racism is against the oppressor group, which is seen as the Caucasians, whites, Israel, the successful people, that racism is acceptable, and that kind of racism against Israel, against white Americans, is somehow necessary. And so there's this asymmetry, and that racism is, definitely asymmetrical, because this attitude is frankly at odds with the liberal perspective that racism is wrong in any direction, right? Which it is and always should be. So he's kind of going at this like a computer programmer, and he's examining, if you would, the source code, and he's exposing it. He's totally exposing that the left sort of DEI CRT movement that's supposed to be so anti-racist is actually rooted in racism itself, because they're the ones that somehow are trying to justify the attack of 1,400 innocent Israelis. They're trying to justify that a white student who has worked hard and maybe grew up in Appalachia and didn't have 2 dimes to rub together his entire life doesn't deserve a spot at Harvard, because an African-American kid who grew up in Brookline, Mass, and, had every advantage in the world is still Black. And I'm sorry, that is racist. have to be able to look at people in the world of Martin Luther King Jr., right, for who they are, not the color of their skin.
All right, guys, most of us know what it's like to be without power, sometimes for an hour, maybe a day, couple days.